Outrageous pay, Sue Gray. She's the only pensioner in this country that's not going to freeze to death this winter, and that's because she, guess what, earns more than our Prime Minister and any cabinet minister in our country. Personally, I think she should be out of her job. She should never put herself before our country. She had multiple opportunities and was given multiple opportunities to lower her pay to under Keir Starmer's pay so she would avoid the negative headlines, and supposedly she outright denied to do it. Now, today, the front pages are a splash with Sue Gray, who looks like she's got herself into a bit of spot of bother because she's also tried to lower the salaries of her colleagues in Downing Street to less than what they're being paid today. So, Sue Gray, outrageous pay, see you later, and I think no civil servants, no SPAD, anyone working underneath the Prime Minister should ever earn more than him. Andy, do you think Sue Gray has outrageous pay?
Let's separate two things out. Do I think she's paid too much for the job that she has? No. It's a very important job. Should she be paid more than the Prime Minister? Absolutely not. And I cannot understand why, given that she was told that this was going to be a problem, if this was going to become a story, if she took more money than Keir Starmer, she was told that, she knew that, and she still didn't row back and take less. And I think it's just pure stupidity.
Well,
and it's causing Labour problems.
I don't think it's stupidity. I think it's arrogance.
Yeah.
I think it's contempt for the electorate.
Well, it might be.
They won this loveless landslide. More like a land mess. And they're actually saying to the public, well, you know, we can pay her whatever we want to. This woman who, let's not forget, was part of the Partygate report that done over Boris Johnson, she's got exactly what she wanted. She's played her cards right, and, well, all for court, no knickers.
I think it's really important the audience know that the Telegraph reported that Sir Keir Starmer actually signed this off. So he agreed to give Sue Pay this massive pay rise.
Which I find so hypocritical, because don't we remember with Dominic Cummings, what he said to Boris Johnson with him getting £40,000 more, made such a big deal of it. But, you know, never would Dominic Cummings being wages more than Boris. This is absolutely outrageous, and I think we see her in her true colours of what she is. She could have stopped this, and she didn't. She wanted the money, and it shows greed, it shows she's selfish, and she actually doesn't care, and arrogance.
Yeah, I think it really shows arrogance. I think they've come to power. They can't believe they got this majority that they did, that they didn't win. We just voted out the Tories. And I think they're carried away with their own power at the moment. And I think it's showing with Sue Gray. I think it's showing every single corner that you shine a light on of this new shambolic government.
Andy, we should sack her. Shouldn't Keir Starmer sack her?
No, he shouldn't, because the government is 12 weeks old and there's a ton of stuff that needs to get done, and she's an important cog in that machine. But what I would say is that if you're the story as an advisor 12 weeks into a government, that is a massive problem. Going back at 20 years or so, when Alistair Campbell became a story, he resigned because he knew he'd gone too far. And she needs to just get back in her box, as far as I'm concerned. On Dominic Cummings, he was earning more than Sue Gray in real terms 4 years ago. So let's just be very clear about that. He's no saint either.
I'm not saying he's a saint, but this is hypocritical, and they're supposed to be the do-good party for the working man. This is outrageous, I have to say. And you will see at the Labour conference. You will see tomorrow the outrage. I think you're going to see a lot of people not happy. Your members are going to be really upset.
Though, Andy, is that not a worry for you as a supporter right now when they're briefing against each other and there's clearly a power imbalance within Number 10?
I think there's a power clash. You've got Sue Gray and Morgan McSweeney, and they are sort of on equal footing, and they're wanting to do things in different ways. It is a worry. It's a massive distraction, and I think it needs to stop. But Lizzie, just what is it that bothers you? Is it that she's earning 170k, or that she's earning more than the Prime Minister?
Both, actually.
Don't you think 170 grand to be Chief of Staff to the Prime Minister seems like a fair salary?
I think it's too much in this. We're in a high cost of living with everything, and they're supposed to be for the working man. I think it's quite outrageous. And she's getting more, and she knew getting more than Keir Starmer.
If you want top talent in government, you've got to pay for it.
But Andy, it's the hypocrisy that stinks for most people. Most people wouldn't bat an eyelid at pay of people in Downing Street. I don't think they want them to be earning this much money, if we're being honest, but most people would understand if that was an important position. That it's the hypocrisy that the Labour Party have shown and the contempt they've shown for the British people by saying, you can't do that, Tories, but when they get into government, they do exactly the same thing as they said that you shouldn't do.
Exactly, because on Dominic Cummings' pay salary increase, Sir Keir Starmer tweeted out saying that actually the mask has slipped for Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's always a tweet.
And he kept saying about the elderly, that all their bills going up. And look what he's doing to our own pensioners this very minute.
Those are two completely different issues that I just don't think they're even remotely related. That
But
wind
it's
fuel
optics,
allowance and this.
isn't it, Andy? It's optics. You've got pensioners wondering what they're going to do without this 300 quid, which is almost nothing when someone's being paid £170,000. And most people don't really know who Sue Gray is. She's not the Prime Minister.
No, and nor should they. And I'd much prefer it if no one had ever heard of her.
Says she might be, actually.
Well, I'm sure Angela Rayner is absolutely fuming because multiple Whitehall sources have said that she thinks she's Deputy Prime Minister and she acts like she is a funnel for all information that goes to the PM. It's quite
She's pulling the strings.
That's her job.
Andy,
She's
can I
chief of staff.
put one of our viewers' questions to you? Martin says, what is a real threat to Britain is single pensioners who don't have the income to replace a broken boiler, for example, to fix leaking roofs or windows, and they're considered too wealthy on an annual income of £11,500. But the grandstanding on the world stage is a nonsense as we're basically bankrupt. Do you actually worry then that all of this in the round is actually making Labour look entirely out of touch to the British public, and that explains why their polling numbers are dropping like a hot potato?
Well, I think, firstly, Keir Starmer is still the most popular party leader in the country.
Are you joking?
No,
Mine
it's
is
true. Look at the Daily Mail today.
In some polls.
I don't agree with you there.
According to polling in the Daily Mail today, that is the case. So I'm just going on today's polling. But, you know, maybe that polling is wrong.
I think it is.
53% of British people think he's doing a very bad job. That's also polling.
But hang on, answer Martin's exact question.
Yeah, I will. So I think we're looking at two different things. I understand why some people might think it's out of touch, but the reality on the wind fuel allowance is that 80% of the people who were getting wind fuel allowance didn't need it, and that's Age UK's own figures, right? So I understand there are people at the lower end and on the margins who need support, and I think it's important.
2 million.
The government does. Well, it's important the government does everything they can to make sure those people
Let's be
continue
honest,
to get
right?
wind
All
fuel
of
allowance.
these people in government who leave on these salaries, they go on to really high-paid jobs and, milk the...
And
They milk the system.
Yeah, beautiful
Milk the
pension.
Lord.
But let's be serious. If we want good, high-quality, capable, well-educated people at the top levels of government, we have to
There
pay
is
them a
absolutely
reasonable
no
amount.
part of me that sees any competence and top talent in the government.
In the corporate world, a lot of the people at the top of number 10 would be earning several
They're not
times
in the
more.
corporate world. They chose public service.
OK, exactly.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.